thousands of years, the First Nations burned and managed the forest. It was so managed that the forest is now fire inclusive, which means that it requires fire. And most of the seeds and stuff are waiting for fire and the right conditions to open up. In the 1860s, I guess, the first thing that took a lot of the knowledge away was disease. You know, killed like 80 to 90% or more of the First Nations people in the valleys here, and then after that, the Indian Reserve started and residential school, and so the knowledge really wasn't passed on to the children that were taken away to residential schools. So there's a big disconnect just caused by that whole era in time. The early 1900s, it became illegal to start a fire out in the forest. And so from that time on, then each 2-year period or 7-year period, the layers of fuel just added up. Now it's quite a hazard to local communities around this area.
That was kind of one of the things that got us with BC Wildfire is hit hard, hit fast. That was their motto. And it took almost 100 years for them to realize that that wasn't such a good idea because everything built up. Like just in the past 2 years alone, we've had a 100-year flood. 2 years in a row. And the past 2 years, again, some of the worst fire seasons on record. So with us doing the burns in our own backyards, and hopefully all the other First Nations start doing it and expanding on it, we can start taking back the land and making it safer for everybody.
Today we're in a healing world. We're the same people. I'm an Intlagam. I come from the Intlagam territory of the Shackan, the people of the creeks here, and that root runs very deep. Today we're really more immersed with the Western society and than we have ever been. What I feel, anyways, is that with the relationship that we have now with Western society, that it is our responsibility to push forward on our knowledge on the land. It is our time to push forward, to merge and blend our cultural values and put them into a measurable that the Western world can understand and buy into. Because in the world today, with climate change, with the increase in the population, with the influx of people coming into our territory, the building of infrastructure, there's a lot of change. For us, our responsibility is cultural survival. Food security are things that you will hear when we talk about the community meetings, looking after the water, the air, the food, the medicines, and basically looking after what we call the house. So the house provides everything for us, and that's the meaning of our culture, to survive and move forward. We're in this relationship now with the province and industry too, to say, you know what, these wildfires are, when they happen, they cause more devastation than if we had controlled fires.
The cultural burning that happens it'll thin the forest out, it'll take down the ladder fuels, it'll burn the accumulations of fuel that are on the ground, and eventually it has to be done because it hasn't happened for so long. It has to be done in a controlled fashion. So like in the springtime right now, when the ground is damp and the roots can't be burnt, and then all the top gets burned, but the roots stay in place, and after a burn, you'll see it flush green.
So the objective of today's burn is a traditional burn. This is under a prescribed burn plan. This is actually one of the first of three that's going on in the province right now. This is actually what we did was we designed this as we went and started this layout and identifying the area last fall. And over the winter we designed our prescribed burn, and the purpose of this is actually to reduce some fuel loading, but also was to enhance some of the other characteristics of the ecosystem. So reducing some of the fuel loading, but also to reduce some of the sagebrush, increase some of the grasses, and also to add some nutrients for our Saskatoon berries and the Shackan that we have grown in here. So this idea of this burn here is actually is the first that's actually meeting with all these teams that working together under this new environment of prescribed burning. So we're pretty happy here at Shackan to have already have a standing relationship with the Wildfire Service, and also working with FNESS to bring those together today. So it's really good seeing everyone coming in and working together.
There's a lot of ecosystems in British Columbia that grew up through fire, periodic fire, and they're all different. The fire regimes are different in the province wherever you go. And we've stopped that because we started fighting fire over 100 years ago now, right? And so our forests changed, plant communities were lost, open forest, open range areas are grown in now with conifers, right? So the ecosystem restoration program provincially was their aim was to bring some of these ecosystems back to what they were prior to us, putting all these fires out. And the benefits of that are multiple. So anytime you burn, you'll get a instant release of nutrients, right? So that's one benefit. Grasses come back, forage increases, and that benefits not only wildlife, but cattle as well.
The overall goal is that we gather information from elders on what was burned and why it was burned and when, and to teach that to the young people, when it needs to be burned and why and how, and then build a base of crews that can also apply fire to the area in the right way and safe way.
If it's done properly, it's a great tool for us to use, and our people have been doing it for hundreds of years, if not thousands of years, to kind of keep the environment at a sustainable level. And along with other traditional teachings, it's great. It's bringing people back to the land. It's teaching our traditions and culture, and it's using a tool in an effective way that can, benefit future generations.
It's this exciting time of healing and rebirth, and so for me, I look and go, I'm hoping that my generation was the generation that was the lowest, and the ambers were just barely lit, but they never were snuffed out. And so my generation is that generation that passes on the being proud again of who you are, finding our voice again, finding that connection to the land again, and and bringing us back up.